Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It's Brother Mustafa here. This is Muslim Boot Camp. And another video today, and this one is what I call gospel fakery. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to look in the book of Matthew and the book of Luke, and we're going to look at the genealogy of Jesus. Now, just a little bit about the genealogy. We see in both of these genealogies compared together, they're different. They're not the same. There's different people in each one of them. And I want you to note that. I'm not going to read all the people and all the names. You can do that for yourself. But what I'll do is I'll read the beginning of it on both genealogies. And it's figured that this is the genealogy of Joseph. The line is Joseph's line. Now, when you think about that, this is Joseph's line. We were told in school, because they were different, the explanation, because some of us asked, hey, why is this genealogy different than this one? And I think maybe the professor said, well, the one is Mary's genealogy and the other is Joseph's genealogy. The only problem with that is, they say they're Joseph's. So that doesn't pan out. Now that's an idea that came out about, I guess the 1400s, somewhere around in there, that one followed one line and one followed the other line. Just something fabricated, not true. Whenever you see two of something that's supposed to be the same, something is wrong. One of them is not right. Okay, they both can't be right. One of them has to be wrong and one of them has to be right, or neither of them are right. So when we start, I'm going to read that in just about a minute, and you'll get an idea of what I'm saying. But we'll go first. Let's look at it in the text. We'll look at it in the Bible, and you've got to go to Matthew 1, Matthew chapter 1, where it starts. And it says in verse 1, it says, a record of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. And it goes down all through the genealogy. And it says that there was 14 generations. This is verse 17. There was 14 generations in all from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the exile of Babylon, and 14 to the from the exile to Christ. Okay. It says in the beginning, the record of genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham, which we know, Jesus was not related to Joseph in any way, shape or form. There's something wrong there, because he was either adopted, and if he was adopted, he would have been heir to the kingship of David. That would have been part of his heritage and part of his, he would have been an heir through adoption. And in the ancient world, adoption, the adopted child got all the benefits and all the rights of a natural born child. So I think Matthew wanted to present this first off, right off from the running, that this was, his lineage, but lineage through Joseph. And of course, Joseph was not his father. We know that. So, well, let's look at it in Luke one time, and we'll see in Luke what it says. Now, in verse 23, chapter 3, it says, now Jesus himself was about 30 years old when he began his ministry. He was the son. This simply says he was the son. So it was thought of Joseph. He was a son, so it was thought of Joseph. Okay, this is Luke. This is where they say this is Mary's genealogy right here, which it can't be. So we have some kind of a problem here, and when we look down that genealogy, we see all kinds of different names. They don't pan out to be the same. I want to read you another thing, and this is from a commentary, F.F. Bruce. Now, I told you about F.F. Bruce in my introduction to the Bible, introduction to the library that you probably would want to acquire and use. And F.F. Bruce was a British scholar, F.F. Bruce was a champion for the reliability of the Bible, the New Testament in particular. So he starts in his prologue of the infancy, and this is verse 1, a commentary on it. It's on page 1122. This is a single volume, by the way. I'm not sure if they made it in a multi-volume set. So if you got the single volume, it's page 1122. Top of the page it says, "It may be taken for granted that both genealogies are of Joseph." You don't need to read anymore. This is what F.F. Bruce thought, and I mean, as he goes down in here, he'll talk about the divisions and the 14 generation. So you got a real problem, right? So what do you do with this problem? They both can't be right. One of them's wrong, or like I said earlier, they're both wrong. You see how the books start out, the gospel starts out, they're wanting to prove that Jesus is part of the messianic line, the king, from the king, and they want to try to get him all the way back to Abraham, make sure he's good and solid there, And they thought, the New Testament writers thought he might have been the Messiah, but he didn't meet the qualifications of Messiah, because the Messiah would have been a conquering king. And Jesus, they thought he was going to beat the Romans over the head, and take over, run them out of the land, but that wasn't what Jesus came for. So we see here that with these two different genealogies, two absolutely different genealogies, something's got to be forged, something's wrong. And when you try to dig into it, you'll get no real answers. I mean, you'll get a lot of speculation, you'll get a lot of, I think, and you'll go back to the 1400-year deal, the 14th century when they said it was Mary's genealogy, but nobody really knows what's going on here. And this is something that for sure, in all the years, if you've ever spent in Sunday school, you're never going to hear this right here. Or if you hear it, you're just going to hear the one side and not the other genealogy. So you're just going to study about one. But, it's a puzzle, and it's very puzzling. And you make out of it what you will. I gave you the information. Now, you do it what you want. You study it out for yourself, and you're going to hit a blank wall. You're not going to get to the bottom of it. You're not going to find out the reasons for it. Now, was it a forgery? Was one of them a forgery? There's probably a great possibility. I mean, the possibilities are there. It's something was forged by the early church to make Jesus out to be, in that lineage. And of course, like I said over and over, he wasn't of that bloodline at all, of King David. Not of that bloodline, because Joseph was not his father. So you think about these things. Like I said, you're never going to hear these kinds of things in Sunday school. I don't care how long you go. They'll talk everywhere, but everywhere around it, but they'll never hit on these things right here. And the average Christian sitting in the average Christian church doesn't have a clue about what I just said. Has never heard this idea before. Probably when they read the text, they read them separately. They read Matthew and looked at all those names, and people get tired of looking at those names that most people can't pronounce anyway. So they just skip it, go to the next where it picks up after that, and do the same thing with Luke. So the names really didn't stick, that they're different. Get A.T. Robertson's Harmony of the Gospels. You're going to see what I'm saying. You'll get a lot of good information. You'll get a lot of these things. And later on, as time progresses, we're going to look at a lot of these things, these differences in the text. Now, call this what you will. It's not a mistake, that's for sure, because there's too many names that are different to be a mistake. So somebody has two different genealogies here, two absolute different genealogies, and yet they both say they're Joseph's. So you figure it out. Not trying to weaken your faith in any way, shape, or form, but you make out of it what you will. Try to figure it out like I did, and maybe if you come up with something, let me know. And if you got a question, or if you got something that we covered and you got a different perspective on it, I'd like to hear from you. So you can write me at americanislam.ed at gmail.com, or you can write me at americanislam.ed at yahoo.com. Just shoot me an email. Maybe you know something more on this. I'm not the expert of everything. And that brings up the point, I want to tell you about an expert. I don't think I've ever told you this before, but here's the definition of an expert. So don't ever call yourself an expert, because an X is a has-been, right? And a spurt is a little squirt under pressure. I'm going to say that again. An X is a has-been, and a spurt is a little squirt under pressure. So I kind of refrain from calling myself an expert. I'm knowledgeable. That's about it. And that's what I want you to be, knowledgeable. I want you to not be bamboozled by a lot of things, and I want you to go through the text, and I want you to go through sources and study, and I want you to find out what you can. All right? This is important stuff. I mean, this is important stuff. So send me that email, and don't forget to like, right? Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to get more videos, because I'm coming out with them all the time. And if you want more of the same stuff, and if you feel that you're benefiting from it, subscribe to the channel. Well, I come to the end of it, and we're going to have another video on the Gospels coming up. So, Assalamu alaikum. And we wish you peace and happiness and joy throughout your week, and health and wellness. All right? Catch you all later.